In this video, I'm going to show you the Intellytech AirHalo, a 3.5-foot inflatable circular LED mat with a whopping 500 watts of bicolor power. Inflatable lights are becoming all the rage, and Intellytech really never disappoints, so let's see whether there's anything special about this light other than its circular form factor. One of my favorite things about the Intellytech lights are the controllers, so let's start there. The build quality on these things is top-notch with a metal housing featuring the classic Intellytech blue color. One side has an illuminated power button, a push-lock power output port, and a twist-lock power input for using wall power. There's also a 48-volt XLR input port for more portable power solutions, plus a USB-C port for firmware upgrades. You'll also find dual 14.8-volt V-mount or gold mount plates to run this thing off of batteries, plus a V-mount connector to mount the controller to a light stand with the included clamp. On the bottom is a cooling fan, which is so quiet that I've never even noticed when it's come on. That's the only cooling fan that exists in this setup because the light itself is passively cooled, so this whole kit is essentially completely silent. On the top is a huge full-color screen with 2 pressable knobs and 4 buttons for control. You can adjust the color temperature from 2600 to 9999 Kelvin in increments of 50, and the brightness from 0 to 100% in increments of 1%, with 4 different dimming curves to choose from. There are 9 special effects as well, and you can adjust the speed and brightness for each. I think the most useful ones are lightning, TV screen, and candlelight, all of which are realistic. But there are lights out there that have more customizable special effects, so if that's at the top of the priority list for you, keep that in mind. This light also has full-size DMX ports, as well as Bluetooth support for wireless control using the LightSync Plus mobile app. LightSync Plus is one of my favorite mobile apps out there for 2 main reasons. One is that it connects instantly and seamlessly every single time. So many other apps out there have issues or delays when connecting, which is really annoying. It gets especially annoying if you ever have to minimize those apps or your phone screen goes to sleep and it takes 10 or 15 seconds to reconnect because it really just slows you down. Number 2 is that all the buttons and controls in the app are very big and easy to see and use, and you can even tap on some numbers and manually change values. The light itself unfolds into a 42-inch diameter circle, which does have some benefits over the typical square form factor. For one, you'll get circular catch lights in the eyes of anyone you're filming, which I would argue almost everyone thinks looks better. Another example would be if you're lighting a scene top-down around a table with multiple people. You get a more natural look with a round light just because it mimics a real-world light source more accurately. It also just feels like it takes up less space. Obviously, it does actually take up less space than, say, a 42-inch square, but it just has no corners and it feels easier to maneuver and just less things to get snagged on. I know that's kind of hard to quantify, but if you ever work on small sets or in small places, you know what I'm talking about. The AirHalo is like taking a big COB light with a huge parabolic softbox and just cutting the entire back off of it to make it just 7 or 8 inches deep instead of 4 or 5 feet deep. The fact that you get 500 watts of power out of something so compact is just really cool. The AirHalo uses the same pump as some other inflatable lights I've seen, which is a good thing because it works really well, and it has both inflate and deflate buttons, but you can also do both of those things through the secondary port as well. Underneath the top cap is a one-way valve that lets air in but not out, and you can unscrew the second cap to let all the air out quickly to deflate it faster. The pump is removable, so you can recharge the internal batteries via USB-C, and I personally like to take the pump out once the light is set up just to make it a little bit lighter. You also get a few different size nozzles, so you can use this pump to inflate other lights or other things as a bonus, just like pool toys or air mattresses. If you try to use other inflatable lights without the balloon part, it's kind of impossible because you just end up with a really limp light mat. But with the way the AirHalo mounts to its bracket, it's actually totally possible to use this light without the diffusion and balloon, and you get almost 1 full stop brightness more when you use it that way. To mount this light, there are 2 different pieces involved. There's a collapsible X bracket with heavy-duty Velcro on each arm that slaps onto the back of the light, and then there's 4 buckles as a secondary security measure. It uses a quick connect that attaches to a gooseneck, which is what connects to a light stand or anything else. Once it's together, it's very sturdy, and the ball joint angle adjustment works really well and tightens down securely without any kind of sagging. There's no actual grommets on this light, but if you needed to rig it up some other way, you can easily do that by wrapping it around the buckles or the X-bracket's arms. If I compare the setup times between the AirHalo and my Intellytech Mega Light cloth, the AirHalo is definitely faster, which is saying something because the Mega Light cloth goes up pretty quick for a light that size. My one complaint here is that the tightening handle for the ball head does kind of run into the back of the light mat. It is one of those ratcheting style handles, so you tighten it, pull the handle out, and turn it the other way, and then tighten it some more, or vice versa to loosen it. Overall, it's not a big deal at all and just takes some getting used to. The other thing that I might change would be making the cord attached to the actual light a little bit longer. That way, if you have the light and the controller on a single light stand, you can connect them more easily without the need for the extension cord. Again, that's also a minor thing and maybe mostly applies to how I would use this light personally. Everything in this kit is high quality and heavy duty, and like other Intellytech lights, is more than at home on high-end professional sets. This is a big, pretty heavy light with the full kit in its double-decker case coming in at 44 pounds. The case it comes in is rigid, has wheels, and a telescoping handle, so despite being a bit of a big chungus, it is easy to travel with. You also have to remember that this thing is 500 watts, so you could compare it to something like the Aputure 600X, which is 42 pounds in its case. And that's not even including a softbox, which adds another 5 pounds, and the form factor on the AirHalo is so much more compact, which makes it easier to handle versus something bigger and bulkier. I think the beauty of the AirHalo is not only in its simplicity and setup time, but also its flexibility with the included accessories. You get both a pop-up grid and a skirt to use with this light, which just opens up more possibilities. I really love the grid because it pops up like a 5-in-1 reflector, so it not only packs down really small, but it also sets up and tears down really fast. The skirt comes in 2 pieces and is perfect for flagging light when using this light in top-down shots. So far, I really love this light, but the most important part is how good the output is. I tested the brightness and color accuracy of the Intellytech AirHalo with my Sekonic C800 and got the following results. First, I want to mention how inflatable lights are kind of their own animal when it comes to brightness and color accuracy. Typically, I test lights bare whenever possible, but these lights are really designed for the diffusion to never come off, so that's how I test them. With the light set to 3200 Kelvin, I got an actual CCT of 3130, a color correction number of 0.2 magenta, and a brightness of 8020 lux. I also got a CRI of 96.6 with excellent individual R values, and an SSI versus the tungsten standard of 86. With the light set to 5500 Kelvin, I got an actual CCT of 5351, a color correction number of 0.4 green, and a brightness of 8990 lux. I also got a CRI of 96.2 and an SSI versus the daylight standard of 75. Now, normally once you add any kind of modifier to any light, the color accuracy drops off a bit, so the fact that this light can have both the balloon and diffusion in front of it and maintain such good color accuracy is honestly kind of amazing. Long story short, you get exactly what you would expect from Intellytech here, which is big budget film level color reproduction. When it's all said and done, the AirHalo just feels like it's one step above or one generation ahead of the other inflatable lights that I've tested. It feels well thought out and well executed, and it's just a really fun light to use. The Intellytech AirHalo retails for $18.99, while something like the Aputure 600X is $19.90. Obviously, those are 2 very different form factors of lights, but they have similar output and they're meant for similar audiences. I mention all that because I think it just goes to show that the Intellytech AirHalo is relatively inexpensive, especially considering all the accessories that are included. But what do you think? Leave a comment and let me know if you would pick the Intellytech AirHalo over other inflatable lights or the usual options out there. Links are in the description, and if you buy anything at all after clicking my links, that's the best way to support my channel at no extra cost to you. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.